the snow's going to keep up until, 9 o'clock or so in the morning. But actually, like 10, it goes down a little bit at 10, and then maybe 11 it clears off. So we might see some midday movement today. Deer that want to feed. No tracks in here though at all. We're the first ones in. I don't know what that means. We're either dumb or we're smart. It'll be an interesting day, I think. We'll probably come out like snowmen.
You know the old saying, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence? Well, in this case, the woods is browner on the other side of this snow. And by that I mean, it's funny how we wish for snow for gun season, and now here it is, and it's like it's not helping the deer movement at all. In fact, seems to be just a sea of white with nothing happening. No wildlife, no birds, no chipmunks, certainly no deer. And I find myself wishing maybe for a change of scenery, maybe for the snow to go away. Obviously, that's not going to happen this week. But it's kind of funny how we can wish for something and then get what we want, and we're still not happy. Ah, humans. We drove around quite a bit today. And we're looking for fresh tracks, and there were none. Maybe a few. My son Andrew actually went after a track we thought was a buck, pretty good size, and he tracked it up into the woods for about a mile, and came across some beds from last night, and he said the track wasn't quite as fresh as we thought it was, so we abandoned that. It's about 2 o'clock now in the afternoon. We have a beautiful clear cut here that hasn't really grown up much. It was said it was cut in like 2021, I think. And there's definitely food here, but it's not quite as ideal as I'd like it to be. But the flip side of that is I can see everything. I can see really great down, probably about 200 yards down through there. So that's the goal for tonight, is to find some movement, because right now it's pretty dead. But that's hunting. So we'll check back in a little bit. As I sit here, I can't help but think that this clear cut's just too young. It doesn't have enough young browse. The clear cuts that seem to do really well for late day food are the ones with the reddish tint to it. I don't see any of the red tint of the new the new buds on the end of the little branches and such. And there's not much undergrowth here. It's just mainly a few weeds here and there, and a few tops. Good bedding, but not what you want for food. So there are a few fresh tracks going through here, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to come in. I hope my son is set up on a better clear cut, one with more food, I think. So hopefully he has some luck. But I'm not really highly convinced that I picked the best spot for tonight. We'll have to see. I do have some great cover here, though, as you can see the beach brush around me here, giving me a little bit of cover. I also put this handy dandy log right there. I'm sitting behind a massive black cherry, it looks like here, so got some good things happening here. Just I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if anything moves through. I just don't have a great feeling, but we'll see. I don't want to be too negative about it. wish these hunts would have a payoff for you watching this. Oh, believe me, I wish they had a payoff for me. But it's cold. It has gotta be below 20 degrees now. And it is frigid. The wind is blowing. Ugh. And we're about at the end of legal shooting light. Not quite yet. You know, it's the way it goes up here. I got about 15 minutes left, actually. It's the way it goes. You just never know when they'll be moving and when they won't be. And lately, last few days, they have not been moving. A little bit here and there, but not on a wide scale. They're pretty well holed up, so I thought maybe this cold and snow would get them off their feet tonight. And there's still 15 minutes left, so we'll see what happens, but it's just a tough go sometimes. But I'm having a blast. I mean, you still can't beat it. It's so much fun to be out here in nature. Even when it's cold, you never know what you're going to see. And I better keep my voice down because the wind settled down a little bit, so it's pretty quiet right at this moment. Ooh, I hope we see a buck or a doe or anything. Well, we're heading out to the stand behind my parents' house. Gonna sit there in the field for about 2 hours. Just me. My son's out in the great wilds of the Allegheny National Forest. And I'm just gonna be, living the cushy lifestyle. No heated blind. That would be nice. Maybe next year. For now, I want to show you these tracks all over the yard. All over the yard. Last night, they come in the wee hours of the morning and make fools out of us. It's crazy. They are just all over the place. So I got to figure out where these deer are. Probably in the edge of those pines. The blind's out that way. So we're going to see if we can make this work tonight. I hope there's deer around. Well, for once I was right. They were bedding at the edge of those pines. At least one was, and it came out to my left about an hour into my sit. I ranged it about 150 yards and knew that after it passed that tree, I would have a nice opening. But for some reason, I hesitated. My gut said, no. Let it go. And to this day, I'm not sure why. Was it knowing that deer was at 150 yards and I had a 30-30, a gun that's not known for its long ranges, although 150 is not that big of a deal? Was it the fact that I had shot at one last year in almost the same situation and had missed? Was it that this deer didn't really seem that big to me and I was really holding out for a big old mama doe? I don't know. And I'm still not sure, but for whatever reason, I passed on that doe. And I was okay with that. About a half an hour later, as daylight faded, the same doe came back across the field a little bit higher up than before. I ranged it again, and figures it was a little bit further out yet. Part of me couldn't help but say, should I take it? But I had already passed on it. And now it was closer to closing time, and it seemed really dumb to take it now, especially when it's further away. So she got to go back to her pine bedding and live another day. As for me, with the temperatures being what they were, I was happy not to have to deal with a deer that night. It's kind of like getting done with a fishing trip when you've caught and released them and you don't have to gut them and deal with the filleting and all that. But at the same time, I'd come up here to kill deer. And I really thought if given half a chance, I'd pull the trigger. For reasons I still don't understand. It wasn't meant to be for this one. Well, the deer was gone, and all I had left to do was unload and walk home. But not before this bunny took me by surprise coming in from the left. That's what I felt like doing after sitting in the cold all day. Getting the old limbs working again. Here we are.
Here we are.
What you gonna do today? This is just
You're so
for us.
awkward.
Isn't it? I feel the same way.
I'm gonna shoot a big buck.
A buck?
I'm gonna shoot a big buck.
How big?
30 point buck.
The dirty. You're gonna shoot the dirty point buck. Oh my word!
Get out of here.
It's Saturday. Second Saturday of gun season in Pennsylvania, and we are in the Allegheny National Forest. Started up on top there, parked up on top, and came down. I'm sitting kind of in a bench right now. I've got a little bit of a draw below me. A draw where they would come up through. It's the easiest way, kind of a drainage. I've got a clear cut right at the top. That's what I'm sitting in. And a bit of a bench that goes out to a ridge just beyond me to the east. It's kind of a collection point, I think. At least that's what's in my mind on it. And there are tracks coming this back and forth on this bench, so it's just a matter of the right buck or the right doe at the right time in the right spot. And that's a little tricky because it's kind of brushy, as things are when you sit in a clear cut. But I'm hoping that it'll get close enough that I'll be able to get an opening. My son Andrew's just over the hill in an area that he sat yesterday all day and saw 4 deer. Nothing that really was worth shooting. There was a spike and a doe he couldn't get. I'm sorry, a medium-sized, small-sized doe. He'll never forgive me if I tell you he couldn't get it. Sorry, brain's not functioning today. Small-sized doe, he passed on that. And he's holding out for something a little bigger. But on his way through there yesterday, he saw a bunch of beds and tracks just lower on this hill before the valley. So that's what he's banking on today, and we'll see what happens. We'll sit till about noon, and then we'll probably try behind my parents' house for the end of the day. Maybe he can get a shot on that doe that I saw yesterday. I spun the camera around to take some video of the hillside behind me. This is one of those spots where it's hard to figure out where to look. So many different places the deer could come from. And I'm always afraid when I spin the camera around and watch a section of woods that I'm not looking at actively, that I'll get home and watch the video and see a big old buck walking across the top or something that I missed in the moment. But in this case, the woods remained quiet and still. After sitting till about 10 o'clock, I decided to get up and maybe try to bump some deer off the point of this hill down to my son in the valley if there was some to be bumped. It's obvious I have a lot to learn about videoing hunts because even though the camera was on my forehead, it was pointed just a little bit too high. And unfortunately, there's a lot of footage of treetops here. And that is about it. I didn't walk too far before I found a mock scrape, which is always a good indication of people hunting this, at least in bow season earlier in the year. I find that they're popping up more and more. Some people use ropes. The better ones are made with vines. I think this is the 4th one I found this year, with the one constant being that there's never been any scrape activity below it. I know it depends on the time of year, and it's certainly not an indication that deer aren't rubbing their foreheads on it. But it would be fun to come across one that's actively being used, because then maybe I could utilize it. Either way, it is an indication that I'm not the first hunter this year at this spot, which isn't a real surprise. I'm not that far off the beaten path. Cool thing was I did find some fresh beds just off the point of the hill, which is often where beds are located, under the pines. And I made a note for next year. See if I can figure out how to set up on them. I do that a lot. Thinking about next year. Sometimes that's all you have. Well, after some lunch, I decided to try to capitalize one more time on all that sign that I'd seen at my parents' property. Just up the hill from where I had seen that doe come out a few nights earlier. Thought maybe my son could have a crack at that from the blind while I sat way up on the hill in a patch of woods. So much sign, lots of tracks, everything you want to see except daylight movement. And you know, when midweek comes along and you're thinking, the night is young, still plenty of time to harvest a deer. And And then every hunt goes by and you haven't seen anything. And it's like, but I had my chance. I passed. I don't know why. But I feel okay with it. Must be a reason why I shouldn't have gone for that doe. And I went with my gut. That's all you can do. It's the best thing you can do. I'm sitting here this evening. Gave me some time to think about the week and how awesome it was to be out that much in the real world of nature and the big woods of Pennsylvania where I grew up. And it's just awesome to be able to hunt the same ground that I hunted when I was a kid. A lot less deer now than there used to be. I remember a time when I could see 30 does running past me all at once. No bucks, and this was buck season, of course, so you had to pass on all 30 of them, which is its own kind of madness. But either way, the bucks are bigger, the does are healthier, and even when I don't get anything, I keep coming up because it's addictive. Thanks for coming along with me to the Allegheny National Forest and the Pennsylvania Big Woods for this week-long hunt. Look forward to doing it again, hopefully this coming year, and hopefully I'll have some better video to share with you next year. Because it's a learning curve, and we're just getting started. I'm really glad you're along for the ride.